Well, welcome in to My Dogs Are Barking on MPW Digital. My name is Landon. I'm without Austin today, but I got to tell you, this is going to be should be a very good episode. Should be a very entertaining episode. Talking about everything from National Signing Day for Mississippi State. I just want to set this picture up for a second. So last night, it's 9:15 p.m. because the basketball game didn't tip off until midnight. No, anyway, so it's 9:15. I'm covering the game in the hump, Mississippi State versus number 18, Pitt. State's up 30 points. The crowd is raucous, in a great mood. I look to my right, there on press row, and Mississippi State athletic director Zach Selman is passing out ice cream to students. Students are in a great mood. Everybody's laughing. I'm thinking, what in the world is going on? The dang athletic director's passing out ice cream to people. Here's some cookies and cream. Here's butter pecan for you. And then I look down below, and all the rest, these other beat writers, these reporters are all looking around, scrambling and getting up and talking to each other. What's going on? And that's when it is made known that there's something with Tyler Lockhart and Ole Miss, Mississippi State. And I haven't announced anything officially yet, but there's murmurs that Tyler Lockhart is signed with Mississippi State. But wait, he already signed with Ole Miss. What in the world? And then they finally get the news Tyler Lockhart is signed with Mississippi State. Just mass confusion. People don't know what's going on. Again, State's winning by 30. The athletic director is passing fudge ripple out to people. It's crazy. So we're going to cover that on today's show, but also talk about just some other headliners from Mississippi State's National Signing Day. We are not going to go player by player. I'm just going to talk about a couple of players I think can contribute immediately, and then who the gem of the class is, who I don't really think is being discussed by a lot of people. And then we will talk about Mississippi State's dominating win over number 18 Pitt last night. A lot of good stuff to get to in this episode. I just recorded an entire episode, and because I'm not recording with Austin, I don't have anybody to check the audio on the other side. So I go to check the audio, make sure everything's good. And like a goober, I didn't have everything ready to go properly. So there was no audio on a good length episode. So I'm going to redo this with precision. We're not going to be here all day. We're just going to take some time to talk about this because I'm thoroughly embarrassed. We're going to talk about this Tyler Lockhart thing, but also the rest of the class because there's some good things to talk about. Before we do that, I want to let you know that My Dogs Are Barking is brought to you in part by Arpa's Coffee Bar in Starkville. I was there at Arpa's last night, and I'm going to tell you something, man. Arpa's coffee on a very cold night is just it, man. It hits so well. Like, I'm usually a black cup of coffee all the way, but if I can get like a hot cup of flavored coffee, I feel like an old man. I got like butter pecan flavored coffee. I'm doing great, and that's what happened last night. It was so phenomenal. But Arpa's understands that great food and drinks are best enjoyed in the company of friends and loved ones. Their warm and inviting atmosphere creates the perfect backdrop for laughter, conversation, and just great memories. Whether you're seeking a good spot to catch up over coffee, a great gathering place for special occasions, or just a good late night hangout spot, their friendly staff is dedicated to ensuring your experience is nothing short of exceptional. It's located in the heart of the Cotton District in Starkville. Mention that you're a listener of My Dogs Are Barking podcast, and you get 15% off of your order. Not a bad deal at all. Just be ordering and they have really, really good food as well. It's Venezuelan. So you get a Venezuelan hot dog, Venezuelan hamburger, all these really cool things. And then say, hey, I heard about you guys on the My Dogs Are Barking podcast. Can I get that 15% off discount? Boom. And you will get some cash, you get some cash back in your pocket. Also, want to let you know that this show is brought to you in part by Skip Langley and Edward Jones. What does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering the magic in life. Skip Langley is your Batesville, Mississippi Edward Jones advisor, serving clients in the area and across the state. Count on him for financial strategies that can help support a life you love, because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. So contact him today at 662-563-9843. And together you can find your rich. Edward Jones, member SIPC. So Mississippi State linebacker commit Tyler Lockhart flips to Ole Miss. Then he and signs with Ole Miss. Then he actually flips to Mississippi State and signs with Mississippi State. I'll break that down into easier terms. So just the story of Tyler Lockhart. We'll talk about that. Then we'll kind of talk about the day of yesterday. So Tyler Lockhart flips from Mississippi State to Ole Miss. Tyler, he has an older brother, JC, who's on the team already. He's an offensive lineman. One of his best friends in the world, Fat Clark, is a linebacker from Mississippi State. So has the connection there. When he was signing with Ole Miss yesterday, I'll say, quote, signing, when he committed and appeared as if he was going to sign with Ole Miss yesterday, people were talking. It didn't look like mom and dad were crazy happy, crazy excited. I mean, I literally don't know, but you could see some of that. But he was posting everything for Ole Miss that day, so it looked like that was it. And then, again, late last night, it looked as if it was not over. And here's the long and the short of what it appears happens. Because of Tyler Lockhart's age, his parents have to sign as well, and they have to e-sign. Well, apparently, his mom did not e-sign the documents for Ole Miss. And so whatever happened in between the time of that ceremony and him ultimately signing signing the document to send to Mississippi State, I don't know, and we might not ever know. But the document was not signed, and Ole Miss did not get the correct information from Tyler Lockhart and his family. That appears as if what we know. But he did end up signing with Mississippi State, and it looks as if, I mean, look, from I was talking to a guy earlier today who's a dad of like 75 kids. And I don't mean that literally. He has a lot of kids. They're all under the same house, same mom and everything. But he was saying, like, man, it would appear as if mom just said no. And I could see Pete Golding, someone on defense, going up to him and being like, listen, you need to do your own thing. Your brother's at State. You need to carve your own path. And kind of getting the attention of him during that time. I get it. But it looks as if from mom just said, no, I think it'd be better with your older brother, your friend. Also, mom does not have to split and go, hey, I'll go see someone. My, one son in Oxford, one son in Starkville on Saturdays. Like, she can just one-stop shop, go to Davis Wade and call today. So it would appear those were some of the issues of the reason why he ended up signing with State. I do think he'll be able to get on the field quicker at State because of the talent, the lack of talent that State has currently is concerning. So that's Tyler Lockhart. If you're watching on YouTube, I currently have pulled up the class, kind of a graph that Mississippi State put on earlier of each player that has signed with Mississippi State. I know most people listen on Spotify and Apple, so that's okay. I'll just kind of break down. Again, we're not going over every single player, but there's 24 signees in total. And I do want to mention, Jeff Lebby mentioned yesterday in the press conference that State wants to add about 15 in the portal, which would be 39 total new players for next season. I think it's a great start, especially because Arizona State brought in 60 new players last season or in the offseason, and they've won 10 games this season. So not a bad idea to kind of overload your talent. I think Tony Mitchell is a guy. He's a 4-star safety. He was a 5-star coming out of high school, went to Alabama, got in some trouble with the JUCO route, did well. I think he's going to be able to play very early on, especially when you think about putting him on the opposite side of Isaac Smith. I think he has an opportunity to play very early next season. And I think State secondary got a lot better. Even with Bryce Pollock entering the portal, Kelly Jones is still there, and then adding this other safety piece I think is good. And I think in the portal they'll search for a couple more players back there. Another guy who is going to be able to have a very early impact is Saquon Miles, the number 1 overall tackle out of from JUCO, from Hines Community College. Shout out to Hines. Shout out to Lane Tucker. My dad went to Hines before he went to Mississippi State. But now, overall, Saquon has the ability to play really early for Mississippi State. And the offensive line got better for State as the season went along. But they really, in the first part of the season, were really struggling and could not get a lot of play. A lot of plays were behind the line of scrimmage. A lot of second downs, third downs were second and long, third and long, because on first down that they were not able to make the key blocks early on. So obviously he's got a chance to be in the rotation for sure, but I think he's got a great chance at starting and playing on the opposite side of Luke Work. However they want to work that out with Luke Work being on the left tackle, Saquon being on the right, or vice versa. I think he has ability to play very early. And Ole Miss wanted this guy. Ole Miss, as talented as they were this season, is very talented, much more talented overall than Mississippi State. The offensive line was a position they really wanted to upgrade. They brought in Diego Pounds, the left tackle, and still just were not able to get a good push throughout the season. And so Saquon Miles is going to be huge for Mississippi State. Tashawn Willis is an edge linebacker, 4-star guy who is going to be, I think, he's coming in as a freshman. So he's going to be in the rotation. He's not going to be a guy that starts immediately. But think about Tyler Lockhart. Lockhart and Tashawn Willis are both 4-star linebackers, but they kind of play two different position of linebacker. Willis, I believe, will be coming off the edge, and Lockhart will play more so there in the middle of the field. But both guys have an ability to get on the field very early for Mississippi State. They have a lot of opportunities for people to play early in the season. And I thought that was one of the reasons why Tyler Lockhart was going to come to State the whole time, because there's just so much the opportunity to play early. But for whatever reason, it looked like Ole Miss had his attention, but Mom had his attention even more. Which, look, the old adage goes, and is correct, if Mom is not happy, no one's happy. So Kamario Taylor is the highlight and is the absolute best player in this class. I mean, he's the highest overall quarterback to ever sign with Mississippi State. Quick trivia here. Who, before this, was the highest ever quarterback to sign with Mississippi State? It's not Dak Prescott. It's not Chris Relf. It is not Tyson Lee, the 5'10", 2009 quarterback we got out of JUCO. Shout out to Tyson Lee. It was Sawyer Robertson, who's now balling out at Baylor, a Mike Leach quarterback. But Kamario Taylor he is just sensational. Whenever he gets on the field in Starkville, he's going to make such a huge impact. And that's something state fans have to be excited for, is having a head coach like Jeff Lebby allows you to get a guy like Kamario Taylor. And Kamario is a leader in this class. Like he looks like the kind of guy State wants to build around for years to come. I hope he gets some time to develop. I'll tell you who the gem of this class is, a guy that I don't think a lot of people are talking about, but I really like a lot for whatever my opinion's worth, which is not much, but that's okay. Jabrea Stewart is a safety linebacker hybrid, and Jabrea Stewart is really, really talented. As I look at him, he reminds me a lot of the West Virginia safety that transferred here a couple years ago, Jackie Matthews, who only ended up playing 1 year because he declared for the draft for some reason no one really knows. But Jackie played downhill. He was a really hard hitter. I think Jabrea Stewart has the ability to play early and play a lot because he has the hybrid type of body and play style. He really is a hard hitter, and it'll be good to watch them kind of develop some of his coverage skills. But if he gets that down, he's going to be a difference maker. I think he's the gem in terms of who can make a huge impact next season. Look, State did, and there's a lot of other really good players to go over. But again, this episode, this is just kind of talking about everything that happened yesterday in a quick nutshell. They got some depth pieces. They got some two deep guys. At one point, Mississippi State, during Egg Bowl prep, was playing tight ends at defensive tackle to get a look in practice because they did not have the depth because of injury, because of people they weren't able to bring in. So this was huge for State to get some extra depth pieces. And State did lose out on some players. Look, Cavante Henry was a really good player, went to Alabama. Stephen Miller was a really good player, cornerback, went to USC. Xavier Hardy, they lost yesterday morning to South Carolina. Really good player. What is it? Tashawn, was it Tylen Coleman? I'm butchering the first name, but went to FSU. So State did lose out on some defensive guys that really could have, made an impact. And that's the thing, like State, Coleman Hutzler, if he is the defensive coordinator, and it would appear he is, he has plenty to sell when it comes to playing time. I mean, you can get playing time in this defense very early next season. Overall, look, here's where we'll finish this conversation. Mississippi State went 2-10. And after the Toledo game and after the Arkansas game, when they were blown out and humiliated, if I told you that Mississippi State would still get a top 25 recruiting class before the portal even opens, 100 out of 100 people would take it. I mean, that's a huge deal. So State has a lot to build from this. The portal opens on Monday, but a top 25 class, even though they missed out on several people, is a positive no matter which way you slice it. So we're going to take a quick break. I'll get an ad read in here from Neil, and then we will finish up talking about Mississippi State and Pitt from last night. We'll be right back.
All MPW digital podcasts are brought to you by our friends at Parish Brewing Company, located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana. Parish Brewing Company's simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do it remarkably well. The doctor is introducing their new go-to IPA, Dr. Juice. It's a highly crushable juice bomb, dry hopped with a blend of their favorite hand-selected hops from the Yakima Valley in Washington. Dr. Juice's drinkability is sneaky good, considering it clocks in at 6% ABV. The pour glows a rich cantaloupe hue with a thick frosted haze, soft mouthfeel, an aroma and taste that's full of passion fruit, papaya, and blood orange, making it drink like a glass of freshly squeezed juice. They also have Ghost in the Machine. It's a double IPA brewed with obscene quantities of hand-selected Citra hops from Yakima Valley. Expect pungent grapefruit flavors and aromas, tropical fruit, less harsh bitterness than most IPAs. Again, it's Parish Brewing Company. Wherever you get your beer, check out Parish. Make sure that you look for them, because any beer that you get from Parish is going to be absolutely outstanding. Thank you from MPW Digital.
YouTube, you see we have a graphic pulled up here with the stats from last night. Mississippi State beats the number 18 team in the nation, Pitt, 90-57 in a game that really was not even competitive. State looked really, really good in this game. Keyshawn Murphy came off the bench, was the player of the game, 24 minutes, shooting 80% from the field, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 20 points overall. Chris Jans said in the press conference with us after that he sees this from Keyshawn in practice all the time. He said, but he wanted to see him come out in the game, and he's been able to do that here recently. Josh Hubbard, honestly, guys, was a little off in this game, but that's the reason this portal haul was so important. You have other guys that can step in and make a difference. RJ Melendez scoring 10 points is huge because he's such a good defender. I mean, think about DJ Jeffries from last season. DJ's offensive consistency really kind of tailed off towards the end, but as a defender, goodness gracious, man, he was so good. RJ is able to score a little bit. Look at it. I mean, he only took 4 shots. He only took 6 shots. He made 4 of them. Played really well. And again, his defense was crazy good. Cam Matthews, he's such a specimen of a dude. And to think of any Pitt player getting in his face or even thinking about, swinging on him is crazy, man. Like Cam Matthews, if you are in a fight with a bear, if you see Cam Matthews in a fight with a bear, you better jump in and help the bear. Like he was about to be hitting that guy with so many lefts, they'd be begging Cam for a right. Like, I mean, Cam is a physical specimen, and he's the leader of the team. Chris Jans, again, in the press conference last night, said, we want this team's identity to be like Cam. So I think that kind of in terms of set the tone, be very confident, be aggressive, be physical. That's who Cam Matthews is, and this team is showing some of those characteristics. Here's the biggest story of all, though. Michael Nwoko, 18 minutes, 18 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, 7 for 9 from the field, and also had a 3 at the very end of the game. He played fantastic in this game. He's a guy that has the ability to be really, really good that we did not see coming. Remember, we were all talking about how, man, I just don't know how this team is going to do on the defense, on getting rebounds. Like it does not look good when it comes to the rebounding portion of this team. But man, like they have been really good especially on the offensive boards of getting the rebounds. So I'm really impressed by this team getting a really big win. And right now it's a quad 1 win. If Pitt continues to win, it'll stay a quad 1 win. And that is going to help Mississippi State out a lot later on. The SMU win's probably a quad 2 win, but you got to hope for them to continue to do better. State's put themselves in a really good spot, and they've got some big games coming up, but that was really huge. And here, Josh Hubbard was off, as we said, but several other people contributed. Kanye Clary didn't even play. Chris Chan said it was a lower leg injury. That's what he said. No timetable on his return. So we will see. But other people were able to contribute. Claudell Harris also had 10 points. State has several different people who can hit some shots, and that is really exciting. That's a really great takeaway. As I mentioned, man, Mississippi State for everyone. The portal is opening on Monday. Keep in the loop. Jackson Arnold is obviously in the transfer portal, the former 5-star from Oklahoma. It has been reported that the teams to keep an eye on are Georgia, Auburn, and Mississippi State. Georgia already has Jalen Rashada and another 5-star quarterback behind him, I believe. Auburn, I think Auburn's probably a likely fit. Auburn has a lot of money to give, and if they don't want Keaton Salter, I would imagine they'll go all in on getting Jackson Arnold. But if not, man, keep an eye on Mississippi State. The relationship with Jackson Arnold and Jeff Lebby is really close. We heard it even last season when he was asked. Lebby was asked about Jackson Arnold. He says so many good things about him. Lebby recruited him to Oklahoma. They know each other really well. He knows this offense. It would be a huge pickup for Mississippi State if they were to get Jackson Arnold. Right now, On3's evaluation says, or Jackson Arnold's NIL evaluation is about $1.2 million. And here's my thought on it. We were thinking about other people's money. If it is true that State has about $13 million to play with in the NIL, so I literally do not know if that's true. Could be half of that. Could be more. I don't know. But if that was true, let's just say they had 12. Would you not spend 1 or 1.2 on a quarterback? A great quarterback can right a lot of wrongs. We see that in college football. We see that with the NFL. I don't know what it's like. Like, what do you do with Kamario Taylor? What do you do with Michael Van Buren? What do you do with Blake Shapen? At that point, I don't know what all goes into that. Kamario Taylor's probably going to sit there and learn anyway. But I think it'd be a very good move to go all in on trying to get him. But you got to spend money on the defense, man. Mississippi State did not bring in a lot of guys that can be in as many guys as they wanted to that could be impactful next season. But the portal opens on Monday, so we'll get to that. Hey, I did want to tell you guys, thank you so much for listening to our show. Let's see, 2 years ago, come April, I was sitting here recording in this room without Austin wasn't part of the show then, just by myself like this. And probably no one watching, but maybe my wife, and even who knows if she even watched, and maybe my neighbor or something. And that was it. But because of the support of MPW Digital, because of the support of you guys, we've been credentialed to cover some things in person, to bring you better things, to write better stories. So thank you. We really appreciate all your support. And man, really, really love talking sports in general. Really thank our sponsors, thank our future sponsors. Just really do appreciate you guys for watching and listening to the show. Man, what a crazy day in the world of Mississippi State. By the time the day was over, it was, oh my gosh, it was just so exhausting. But State does get Tyler Lockhart and gets a top 25 class overall, despite having a 2-10 season, despite a lot of people being upset. State does have a top 25 class. So make sure you're following us on Twitter. It's just at MyDawgsPod. That's where you can get all the information about the show, when we're going to go live, when we're going to have a show posted. Follow us on Substack for free articles, free stories from our coverage. That's just substack.mydawgspod. And thank you so much for listening, as always, to the My Dogs Are Barking podcast. We'll have a lot of transfer portal coverage coming up. Thank you for supporting all the shows on MPW Digital. McCready and Siskey is killing it, and in my opinion is the best college football show anywhere. It is the most entertaining show of all. Like it's just so good. Neil and Tyler do such a great job, and then of course the shows with Neil and Chase are entertaining as well. So thank you guys so much for listening to My Dogs Are Barking on MPW Digital. We'll catch you next time.